So that was fun, huh? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is MUFC versus everybody. I am your host, Sean, and I just threw up a little bit in my mouth watching that piss poor display from Manchester United. Crystal Palace obviously just destroyed us at Selhurst Park, 4-0. It makes it the league double over us for them this season. That makes that 13 losses for Manchester United this season, which is our worst season ever as far as losses are concerned since the Premier League started. And there are still 3 more matches to go, so it could only get worse. So, ladies and gentlemen, Manchester United Football Club. Obviously, I'm here for my initial reactions to the match. Don't forget to leave comment, please, in the live chat. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to hit that like button, please. I know we're all still a little aggro, angry, nauseous, whatever you want to call it. Even if you're curled up in the corner in the fetal position, crying and rocking yourself back and forth, that's okay too. I am a licensed mental health professional. We can talk it out. We can all have a good group session here. That's why we're here. So anyway, why don't we just jump in real quick, just with thoughts on the match. So obviously no Bruno Fernandes today. Seems like just one little knock too many for our captain. He was obviously carrying a broken bone in his hand last few weeks, and then whatever this ankle thing was that he's been carrying around just seemed like it was a bit too much for him. So it is what it is. Mason Mount deputized and did not do very well, if I'm going to be completely honest. I will be a little gracious with Mount just because obviously he hasn't been playing. He's not quite match fit. He's probably fit, but as far as match fit, clearly he wasn't there. He barely saw the ball, and it's not necessarily all because of him. It's just that we just couldn't pass the ball to save our lives. He had 36 touches in 80 minutes on the pitch. That's embarrassing, quite frankly. And you can't, I don't know how you expect to create and get goals when we're not getting the ball high. I think, again, we're relying too heavily on Garnacho carrying the ball, and we've been pushing it down the left-hand side so heavily in recent weeks. I don't know if that's intentional, if it's just the players on the pitch making that decision or what. But Garnacho is still, he's not that old. He's still young. He's doing the same things that Rashford did when he was younger. He's doing the same things that Rashford still continues to do, which is just trying to take on 2 or 3 defenders by himself and dribble into the middle of the pitch. And it's just one too many touches. He's holding onto the ball a little too long, and he needs to find a teammate first. And it's frustrating because there were opportunities, especially in the first half, where we were getting in to the final third with some really good link-up play, I thought. Højlund was dropping a little deeper. He was getting involved in some of that one-touch play. It was just, again, the final decision just wasn't good enough, and attack just broke down. And it's frustrating. It's too bad. I don't know what to do in that situation, right? And what are your suggestions? Pass better, shoot better. I don't know what you tell them. There's only so much you can do. We've got Eriksen again playing in midfield, who's just not great. When we're not on the ball, doesn't really do much. He's just too slow. He's kind of a step behind everybody, and you can tell. I think that it's just a season too many for him in this league. Casemiro, you could argue that it's been a season too many for him for many months now. I think he was I don't know what it is with Casemiro, why he can't stay on his feet. It's so frustrating that he's going in for slide tackle after slide tackle after slide tackle. And it's one thing if you're actually doing it with a bit of energy, a little fight, but he's not even really slide tackling. He's just dropping to his ass on the ground and the game that everyone's just passing him by. It makes zero sense to me why he does this. And Anthony does it a lot too. Anthony goes in for a slide tackle like 9 times out of 10. He doesn't have to. Is it a Brazilian thing? Is it just those two are just they're just bad players thing? I don't get it. I really don't. But I don't know what to make of it. Let me go check through some of the stats here while we're live, because that's always fun. Let's add some legitimacy to what's going on here. So we have the majority possession again, 57% overall. Just couldn't do anything with it, and I think it's a tale of two halves again. So we were obviously you go into the second half 2-0 down, and you'd think that, okay, halftime team talk, let's come out, let's change things up. The players should be up for it coming out of the second half. We should be trying to get back into it. It actually got worse coming out in the second half. We went from 64% in the possession in the first half, 83% pass accuracy in the first half, and 4 shots in the first half. And come out of the second half, we dropped down to 50% possession, 285% pass accuracy, but we dropped down by we completed 80 passes fewer than we did in the first half, and we had 3 shots in the second half. So second half was worse overall. Like, that was embarrassing. There's just no fight left in this team. There's zero fight left. It's between, you can call it injuries, and I know that I've banged on about injuries for months. And to be fair to Ten Hag, you have to consider the injuries, but at the same time, 2 things. The injuries aside, the United players that were on the pitch today were just so poor. They were so bad. Where was Diogo Dalot the entire match? The only time I remember him sticking out in my mind was when we conceded their what was that? Their third goal, that fourth goal. What was he doing there? Again, caught too centrally, falling asleep, not watching over his shoulder for that danger behind him at the far post, and he just completely gets done for that. Like, and that's not a Ten Hag thing. Obviously, it's a thing that Ten Hag needs to correct, but it's a poor fullback positioning and defending thing that's been at United for years. And so again, injuries are no excuse for the way the players played today. But here's the other thing too that's sitting frustrating with me more and more, which is why it's harder and harder for me to defend Erik ten Hag. Oliver Glasner came in February, late February, completely took a Palace team who were struggling, implemented a brand new system. They're doing this 3-4-2-1 thing, which they're switching up to wing backs, and Daniel Klein is dropping back to center back. We've got Eze and Olise playing a little more centrally in these channels instead of wide all the time. So a lot of brand new things going on, and they look like a well-oiled machine. But for some reason, Ten Hag and his coaching staff can't get United's players to press like an intelligent player should be able to, can't get us to complete a pass, can't get us to complete a pass from our defense to anyone in the midfield, can't get our midfielders to have a presence, can't get us to play any sort of one-touch play. We almost got conceded another one today with almost a mirror situation from a few weeks ago, trying to play these little triangles, and it's just, I think it was like Dalot, Eriksson, and we just, again, it just breaks down and it causes us trouble again. So it's just, why is it that Palace can look like a brand new team under a brand new manager with brand new system with these players who you could argue on paper are not better than United's players on paper? How come they can do that, but we can't? That's where it's starting to get frustrating with me. Either the players can't do it, Ten Hag is not able to effectively communicate these tactics to the players, or his tactics are just, they're not going to work, in which case he's going to have to completely change, or we're going to have to change managers probably, because there's no point. And from Ten Hag's point of view, there's no point in him changing to just do like counterattack or something, because that's not the kind of manager he is. That's not why we brought him in. And like, then at that point, what's the point of having him there? Anybody can play counterattacking football. And so it's just one thing after, and it's just another week, another poor performance. So how is everybody doing right now? Yikes. I know I predicted 2-2 going into this, and I think right now I would have snatched your hand off for a 2-2, right? I mean, are you with me here? Does anybody need any therapy? Anybody need any interventions here? Is everybody struggling? So no Bruno, no Rashford. Johnny Evans was back fit, but didn't quite look up to it, did he? I thought he was very weak for their second goal. And it doesn't help that Casemiro apparently keeps forgetting today that he is not playing as a defensive midfielder. He's playing as a center back because Casemiro was way too far forward way too many times. And he was leaving Evans completely isolated back there. Now, again, Evans, his attempt to try to win that ball by simply just kind of sticking his foot out like he was playing the hokey pokey or something that's just garbage defending. But at the same time, where is Casemiro? Casemiro was so bad today. So bad. I don't understand what is going on with him in these last months or so. He doesn't look like he cares. He doesn't look like he's paying attention. He's like, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. You can't say like, oh, we need to take him off, because who are we going to play in defense? He's a defensive midfielder playing in center back because we have no fit center backs. And so Palace had their way with us. They were just constant. Every time they got forward, they looked like they were going to score. And fair play to Onana for making some saves. You can argue that second Mateta's goal, I mean, he should have maybe done a little better and to not get beaten in his near post. But at the same time, why was he in that position? Because of Casemiro being way out of position, because of Johnny Evans failing to try to make a tackle. And then Onana's left all on his own, basically one-on-one against Mateta, who got shot off like 10 yards out. So it's a sequence of events that led to that happening. It's kind of like when someone cheats, right? It's not just a one thing and that was it. It's a sequence of events, a sequence of decisions, of mistakes, of choices that led to that ultimately happening. And that's what led to that. This is abysmal. How is everybody doing? Anybody in the live chat want to let me know their thoughts on the match? I'm going to go through some of my notes here. So I tweeted during the match, laid on, and I'm going to say it again. Casemiro, he's done. He's done as a United player. I would argue he's done maybe as a footballer, at least at the very highest level. I don't even know if Casemiro could adequately play in any top league right now. I think that the Saudi league is probably, or maybe MLS is probably his best bet, but I wouldn't even argue that he would be able to do that. He doesn't look like his legs are done. He's the slowest player I've ever seen. He moves half the speed of smell, and he just, for someone that slow, and you can kind of get maybe to some extent why he goes to ground and makes a tackle, because it's like the only thing he can do. But at the same time, it's just that's not what you need from a professional player of his caliber. I did think our disallowed goal in the first half was a bit of a disgrace. I think that to disallow that, because Højlund and Henderson were both going for that lob ball, I think that was a bit soft to make that call. I think keepers in some degrees are way too protected, and that was, Højlund barely touched Henderson, and I don't think that anybody, I think that was a soft one to disallow, if I'm honest. But at the end of the day, it probably would have not made a big difference, wouldn't it? So we're back in negative goal differential, so that's fun. We're sitting still in 8th place, so that's fun. Honestly, when I spoke about it yesterday, the FA Cup is probably realistically our best hope of European football next season, and I'm more frustrated about it because this is really putting a damper in my plans for the fall to get back over to Manchester. Because like I said, I try to go in the fall when we're in Europe and there's a couple games I can get to in one trip. Now I'm like, man, I have to push this to January, February, March to try to get some sort of a domestic cup slid in with a league game too. Like, this is embarrassing. I thought our fullbacks were not good. Again, I don't know where Dallo was. I barely saw him all game. He just was anonymous. We get the ball, Casemiro or Johnny Evans to get the ball, and Dallo's he's just way up in the final third. Like, he's never around. I don't know what he was doing today. It was not a good display, and I would say he was poor, but I just don't remember him doing anything. Like, usually when I say someone's poor, it's because they make bad decisions on the ball or in defense. But Dallo's he was just so far away from the play. It was like everywhere he needed to be in a given situation, he was the exact opposite of what he needed to be doing. He was way up the pitch when we needed him to drop back, and he was dropping back when we needed him to get forward. It was not good from him today, which was disappointing considering how good he's been this season. I don't know if you chalk that off to a bad day at the office for Dallo, but it was not good. What else? But again, Dallo was bad for their third goal. I think I think he might still be lying on the ground in our box. Actually, if someone wants to go check on Dallo to see if he's gotten up yet, because that was embarrassing. Again, injuries play a big role in a lot of this. Obviously, our center backs were not anywhere near our first choice center back. We've only had our first choice center back pairing like less than half a dozen times all season. Evans obviously just coming back from an injury, so he's rusty. Casemiro is garbage, and he's not a defender, so it is what it is. But here's the thing. The injuries play a role, but today is exactly why. When we do have injuries to our first or second choice players, look at the drop-off. The drop-off in quality when we have a few injuries is frightening. So this is a big deal. This is why I've said many times we need to go about this transfer window to get players who raise the floor of our squad, not players that raise the ceiling. We don't need luxury signings or the icing on the cherry on top signings. We need players who are squad players who can challenge the first team starting 11 players for their spots. We need to have competition for nearly every spot on the pitch, because when you don't, this is what happens, and this is why the injuries are a big deal. I'm just looking at my notes here. Elise obviously coming back in after he's rested a little bit, doing bits today. You could tell he wanted that hat trick. He was, he scuffed his first shot, but it still made its way in, and his second was just well taken. Obviously, I think Onana probably could have done better. It was pretty much right at him, but that shot was hit so sublimely with such good technique and such power and placement that I would challenge any keeper in the world to save that. And I tweeted earlier, it's going to be awkward when we ring up Elise's agent and his agent answers the phone and we're like, we remember we were talking about signing Elise? Like, can we get started on that? And his agent is going to be like, yo, Michael, it's United. They want to sign you. And Elise is going to be in the corner like, tell him I'm not here. Tell him I'm not here. And he's going to be like, yeah, he's washing his hair at the moment. Can he give you a call back? We'll set that up. I'll call you. That's how I see that conversation going this summer. Because Elise is, why would he want to come to United? Why would he want to come to United? I mean, it's United, right? But at the same time, we're such a mess. The work is. We've made such poor decisions in the last decade that it's literally every year is a rebuild, it seems. Every single time we sack a manager, it's a whole new rebuild. We have to get it right this summer, whether that's Ten Hag in charge or somebody else, it doesn't matter. We need to get recruitment right this summer. because we need to actually start a rebuild correctly and not be in the same situation. Again, we need to stop with the Casemiro signings, stop with the Cavani's, the Ronaldos, even the Evans and the Ericssons. And that's not a dig against Evans. He's been excellent. Aside from today, Evans has been fine when he's been called upon, but we can't rely on 36-year-olds. We just can't. Varane needs to go. We can't rely on these 28, 29-year-olds who are injury prone or something. And so and that again could even apply to Adrian Rabiot. I know we've been heavily linked with him. Like, we just can't. We can't have a player like this in 2 years and then have to turn around and replace him again. It's not helping. So I'm curious to know everyone else's thoughts. I mean, I've been ranting a little bit. I am angry. I am frustrated, but it's mostly just dejected, right? It's just not surprised, but still just disappointed. I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but those players United players were disgraced today. Nobody stands out. I don't do player rating because I think it's a bit of a waste of time, especially on a day like this. I think Garnacho probably, just with his energy, would probably score the highest if I did do player ratings. But again, his end products has just not been great in recent weeks. I think he needs to start passing the ball a little bit more. I think Højlund, he needs to work on some of his touch in link-up situations and some of his touch with his back to goal. There were a lot of opportunities where he was getting passes and it was like his touch was like Lukaku. Remember Lukaku's first touch? Sometimes it was like kicking a ball at a giant column, like a giant stone column. You just didn't know where it was going to go when it hit it, and it's not working. He needs help, and we can't. Ethan Wheatley came on. He looked energetic. It's just, you could tell he's still young. He doesn't play with these players. He and Garnacho were having a little bit of back and forth towards the end there when Wheatley was carrying that ball. Garnacho was wide. He could have sent him in, but at the same time, it's just, at that point, it didn't really matter. We were in stoppage time anyway. So anyway, that's my initial reaction. I know it was kind of all over the place, but that's kind of where we are right now. I think it's pretty fitting that my reaction be all over the place because United are kind of all over the place. So I will be back tomorrow for my 3 thoughts on the match and a little bit of United news roundup, probably in the morning or lunchtime if you're watching from the UK. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think as United slowly watch their European football hopes slip away. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to go check me out on Twitter. I'm UFC First Everybody. And please leave a comment in the video after the fact, guys, and I will read them all. I'll respond to them all, and I will give you that little heart reaction to that everybody loves. So thanks again, guys. I will see you tomorrow.